Hello and welcome to the very first ever edition of an English guy watching wrestling. The English guy is me, my name's Nick. First of all, thank you so much for clicking on the video. And what this is about, I'll give a brief explanation. I've been a wrestling fan for over 30 years, and I've been very, very fortunate over the years to see the positive in professional wrestling. And there is negativity, but positivity is always the way I've seen it, and I'm very, very pleased to see it. So I want to spread that positivity by doing something I really, really like, and that's watching wrestling. Also giving little reviews on wrestling, and these reviews that will be upcoming in the future, not going to see any negativity, not at all, because that's not who I am. Because I respect the athletes in professional wrestling for what they do. They step in the ring and they put their bodies in the line for our entertainment. Simple as that. So I'm going to start with an AEW review, but All Elite Wrestling is not going to be the only reviews I'm going to be doing for these videos. I'm going to be doing All Elite Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling. So 3 promotions I'm going to be concentrating on, and possibly in the future, independent promotions, the shows I go to. But of course, no independent wrestling right now because of the pandemic. Well, there are independent shows, but not ones I'm able to go to. But you know what? It's going to be fun to go to shows again and maybe review them, because British independent wrestling is something pretty close to my heart because there's so many shows for so long, and looking forward to doing it again. But this is the first review of 3 today. It's going to be on AEW Dark, which took place on the 19th of January 2021. So AEW Dark, as you know, is a YouTube episode, a weekly episode, periodic, whatever you want to call it, that they do every single week. And of course, they release it every single Tuesday night, at midnight, Greenwich Mean Time. So, this week we had 14 matches to get through. So, quite a lot to get through for this review, but it's not wasting time. Let's get into it. Opening match was Brandon Cutler versus Luchasaurus. Now, it's a bit of an interesting challenge that was made by Brandon Cutler to Luchasaurus, because Brandon Cutler, those who know, has been getting quite a few wins on AEW Dark recently, and of course Luchasaurus, one of the most popular, if the most popular member of the AEW roster, and it was a very unique match, to be honest. And I thought this was not going to be the opening match. Part of me thought this might have been the main event, but no, this was the opening match, and a very solid opening match between 2 very good workers and 2 decent wrestlers. I personally thought this match could have gone a bit longer, but that's no knock on either man, because when you've got 14 matches to get through in like a 2-hour episode of YouTube, you've got to kind of go with the flow and do what you can. But a very good match, a good opener, and I thought Luchasaurus winning was the right thing to do. Even though Brandon Cutler has been getting quite a few wins on AEW Dark recently, it was a good little opener and a very good finish. You don't see Luchasaurus win with that spinning front kick, but you know what? He did. So that was the opening match, and Luchasaurus won at, I think, 7 minutes and 32 seconds, something like that. Anyway, good opening match, worth watching. Next match was Sammy Guevara versus El Australiano. Now, that's a heck of a name to pronounce, that one. This was actually a much better match than I was anticipating, because Sammy Guevara, AEW regular, has been there since the start. El Australiano. It was only his second appearance in AEW Wrestling. Now, his debut was in a tag match, and this was not a tag match, it was a singles match. And to be honest, I never expected to see what I saw in this match, and that is El Australiano getting most of the offense. And boy, what offense! He's a high flyer and a half, I tell you that. I didn't know much about him before he came to AEW, and this was actually a really, really good match. Surprisingly, with Sammy getting not a lot of the offense in, but Sammy did win with the GCH, which is just a GCH, sorry, which was a hard hitting GCH, to be honest. He whacked him with that knee when he hit him with it. But El Australiano is quite entertaining, to be honest. Not in terms of his high flying, but a really unique attitude towards what he does. Little shaking the hips between moves, which was different. And kind of thought, you don't really see wrestlers do that are high flyers, but you know, it adds entertainment value to a match. And this was really good. And he was quite entertaining to watch. I wouldn't mind seeing more of him in AEW in the future, because he was good. Even though he lost the match, he put in a very impressive performance. And he's a high flyer to watch. I think he's going to be a regular on AEW Dark, hopefully anyway. That'd be cool to watch. But Samuel picked up the win in a very good match, actually. Enjoyed it. Next match was Scorpio Sky versus Nick Comoroto. Now, Nick Comoroto is, I call, a, a caveman wearing a straitjacket with his ring entrance. That's just who he is, though. But to be honest with you, I like him. He's a big, big guy. Very burly, as I think it was Excalibur said that in AEW, or Taz, whichever one it was, but they're absolutely right. And this was his best performance to date, in all seriousness. And he's always been cool to watch in the ring, no faults with him, but he really put on a great wrestling match here. And Scorpio Sky was the right guy for Nick, I think, to bring that up. So Scorpio Sky, veteran of the business, everyone knows who he is, always reliable. And this was Scorpio's first match back for a while. But it was so good to see Nick kind of get a bigger chance. Because one thing AEW Dark has been doing recently is the regulars that have been on it, like Nick has, and a few others, which we'll get to later, have been given a bit more of an opportunity to step up their game, show a bit more wrestling, a bit more action, so to speak, in longer matches. And even though this wasn't the longest match, I think 7 minutes and 12 seconds, this was Nick's best performance. And Scorpio Sky didn't get much offense in again, but when he did, he was on point. And Scorpio Sky always is. If there's anyone that's reliable as they come and hits things well and does things brilliantly, it is Scorpio. Because I've seen him wrestle for so long, and he is just so good. And this was a good match. Very entertaining, and hopefully, in all seriousness, you get to see the AEW regulars, like Nick and a few others we'll get to later, kind of like step up the games a bit more and get a chance to shine more, because it's working. This was a really good match, and I enjoyed it. So definitely worth checking out. Not what I expected, but in a good way. And that's kind of good when that's thrown in, you don't expect it. But definitely worth watching. I enjoyed it a lot. Next match was Shanna, who British wrestling fans will know as a Southside regular, versus Marty Daniels, making a second only ever appearance in AEW Dark. And Shanna, of course, was unfortunately not able to be in AEW for the longest time in 2020 because of COVID, but made a return to the tail end of 2020, and it's continuing the form. This was, I think, the second shortest match on the card, but you know, you can always rely on Shanna. And Martin Daniels, I don't know a whole amount about. It's only his second appearance on AEW in total, so obviously I can't say much more than that. But it was a fun match. You know, very unique to see Shanna. I think it's actually a finisher, a Tiger Suplex pin to win the match. But fun match, short match. That's it. Okay, next match was the Butcher and the Blade versus Mike Werner and Baron Black. Now, Butcher and the Blade, again, AEW regulars, you can always rely on them. But this was a great match from Baron Black. And Baron Black this is coming back to the AEW regulars, so AEW Dark regulars, my apologies, get a chance to shine more. And Baron Black did. This was a very, very good tag match. And Mike Werner, who I've seen a few times wrestle before, never AEW Dark, but before that, in other places, and I know he's always reliable in the ring. And again, he was reliable in this match. And I won't lie to you, Baron Black and Mike Werner worked well as a tag team because they did really some very decent offense and hard-hitting offense on Butcher and the Blade. But if there's one tag team that can hit hard, it is Butcher and the Blade. And cool to see Bunny, obviously a member of the group, Bunny, the Butcher, the Bunny, and the Blade, kind of getting a chance to get more outside interference. Obviously, Butcher and the Blade are a heel tag team. So, very unique to see her get more interference, which I don't see much of from her these days. But that's fine. This was a very good tag match. I enjoyed it a lot because not what I expected. More things thrown in from Baron Black and Mike Werner especially. But Butcher and the Blade fought through, and I forget the name of the finisher, to be completely honest. But this was actually a very good tag match. I enjoyed this one a lot. And again, I wouldn't mind seeing more of Baron Black start to push up, because what he was doing this match, I thought, that's great. More of that. Mike Werner, I think his fifth appearance, maybe fourth appearance in AEW Dark. But of course, I've seen him before. I know he's reliable. For a big guy, he can move quick too. So, enjoyable tag match. Really, really unique, one I didn't expect, but that's again a good thing. Next match was the Gun Club, Austin, Billy the Father, and Colton Gunn. I've got it right. I'm so bad at that one sometimes. Anyway, versus Adam Priest, Rory Morales, and Ryzen. Now, Gun Club are AEW Dark regulars by now. It's I think their 6th match they had, and obviously Billy Gunn, veteran of the business, and his 2 sons. And what I really like about the Gun Club is it's not very often you see a father and his 2 sons in a trio. You don't. I mean, obviously you might see brothers, you might see a father and son, brother and sister, or sisters. You never know. But very rarely do you see a father and his 2 sons as a trio, as a group, and that's great. And I like this match. And this was again a good match. And perhaps in this case, the Adam Priest, Rory, and Ryzen are. Well, I wouldn't say Morales is a regular. Ryzen definitely is, but again, slowly starting to show a tiny bit more. Perhaps not as much as the other matches, but this was a fun 6-man tag match, and you can never ever really fail at the Gun Club because despite the fact Austin and Colton have not the most experience, they still belong in there. They can do great things, and sometimes simplicity works. And whilst what they do isn't the most overly complicated thing, that's a good thing. Wrestling doesn't have to be complicated, and the 3 of them work. Father, 2 sons, Gun Club. It's really cool. And every time Billy dancing with all Rivers before the match starts. It's funny to be honest. I quite like it, but more of that, please. But this was a decent 6-man tag match. I enjoyed it, so very cool. Next was John Cruz and Daniel Limelight versus Santana Ortiz. Now this was the shortest match of the whole show, and Daniel Limelight is a guy who's starting to really show himself a bit more and more in AEW. I think he's a great talent. He's been in New Japan too, and he's not signed anywhere that I know of because obviously he works for New Japan too. But he's a guy who's starting to show a lot of potential with tagging with John Cruz, who I don't know that much about to be honest again. But of course, another AEW semi-regular has been there 3-4 times versus Santana Ortiz, one of the best tag teams around. And despite the fact this is the shortest match, again, good match. Decent for what it was, a squash match, to be completely honest. Santana Ortiz winning in a very unique fashion. I'd forget the name of their finisher, but basically, not what they used in this match. A kick to a hard-hitting shot by Ortiz, then a kick to the pin. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Squash match. There you go. Next match was one of the best matches on the show, to be honest. Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and so I can never get their name right. Anyway, Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, that's it, versus Lee Johnson and Aaron Solo. I really like Aaron Solo and Lee Johnson individually, but as a tag team, they worked great. And this is the thing about Private Party. Again, AEW regulars, one of the very best tag teams they've got, but the fact that they're being managed by Money Matt Hardy adds a very different dimension to them, because if you've ever seen a Private Party match, you know they're very, very entertaining, high flyers, athletic, and can do pretty much everything and make it look so easy. In this match, what they were going to do, more high flying tag team offense, Matt was having none of it. He said, no, just punish him. Of course, it's that kind of cliche of a heel manager managing a face tag team. And every time I see it, I can't help but feel I want more of that in wrestling. I like it because it's a very unique dynamic and very entertaining at the same time. And this was definitely no exception because it's Matt Hardy, one of the most entertaining wrestlers there is, no matter what gimmick he uses, whether it's Broken Matt Hardy, Money Matt Hardy, Version 1 Matt Hardy, Omega Matt Hardy. It's just, any way he does it, he's great. And Money Matt Hardy has been so great to watch in AEW, not just with Private Party, but with the Young Bucks on Being the Elite. It's so entertaining. And he really added something different to this match. And I would say to Isaiah Cassidy, if he did hurt himself during this match, because towards the end of the match he tweaked his knee somehow. I really hope it's not a serious injury because he's had problems with his knee before, injury-wise. It's happened before as well. So hopefully it's not a serious one, but thumbs up that he's okay because he was an Impact this week, but that's another review. But this was actually overall a good tag match. Aaron Solo is reliable, Lee Johnson is reliable, and they both worked very well. And I think they as a tag team again worked very well. But the story here was Matt Hardy with the face tag team, and it's been very unique and entertaining to watch at the same time. I want to see how this progresses. But this was a very good tag match. Very, very good. Next match, Big Swole versus Alex Gracia. Now, another short match, but a match I genuinely was looking forward to because Big Swole is one of the most reliable and best female wrestlers AEW has. Alex Gracia has actually started to get more and more chances in AEW, and I like that. And again, she's a decent worker. She can work very well. Even though it was a short match, the exchanges these two had was good. And Big Swole has that headbutt she uses, and she uses it in pretty much every match. This time, when she used it on Alex, she looked quite classy because she hit it hard. But you know what? Big Swole, one of the most charismatic and best female wrestlers they have. Again, you can't go wrong. Short match, but a decent match. I enjoyed it. Next match, Zach Clayton, who I don't know a huge amount about, versus Sonny Kiss. Now, good to see Sonny Kiss back in AEW again. He's not in the match for a while, but good to see him back. Entertaining as you can get, but a very unique Sonny Kiss match because Sonny Kiss isn't really as aggressive as he was in this match, but boy, was he. He was showing a more, I wouldn't say vicious side, more hard-hitting side, and like he's out there with something to prove. And even though it wasn't the quickest match, it was actually one of Sonny's most unique and engaging performances he's ever done in AEW. And I liked it. I thought, I like this side of Sonny Kiss. This is good. I want to see more of this. And again, it's a small, even though AEW has the wrestlers they use more in AEW Dark, Sonny Kiss has been on Dynamite, of course. Maybe it's not just the AEW Dark regulars that are starting to get the more rise. If it's having the same with the talent, like signed talent, like Sonny Kiss, all the better. So, well, I said, a bit of a squash match, I will say that. But again, a different side to Sonny Kiss that you don't usually see from him, but I like it. So it's intriguing to see what the talent's doing and how they're starting to step up and show different sides. I like it. It's different, but you want to see more of it. So, squash match, but one with a bit of a story from Sonny Kiss. I like it. Next match, Casey Navarro, who has been in AEW wrestling before, and Impact Wrestling too. Very entertaining guy, charismatic, but a good, cruiserweight. He does all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, not crazy stuff, but really good stuff. Taking with AJ Kirsch, who I, again, not all familiar with, but not his first time in AEW. It was their tag team debut against, personally, one of my favourite tag teams in wrestling right now, and a tag team you will never ever get bored of watching in Top Flight. And this tag match was just superb for both teams. Not just Top Flight, even though they got the majority offense in, Casey and AJ Kirsch worked so well as a heel tag team. And Casey Navarro is a guy I want to see more in AEW and wrestling in general because he's entertaining as a heel. He's a good cruiserweight, but as a heel, he's great. He's got a bit of a loudmouth, but it works for his character. AJ Kirsch, for what he did in this match, was absolutely fine. But Top Flight, as I said, are just unreal as a tag team. And this match was no different. Some of the stuff they were doing, I was like, what? And this is an AEW Dark, but one thing you won't get from Top Flight is a bad performance. And that standing Spanish fly that Darius Martin does, I'm pretty sure it's Darius because they're brothers, is just ridiculous. And the high flying these two did isn't the most high flying they've ever done in a match, but this was just superb performance from Top Flight. Then again, as I said, Top Flight, one of the very, very best tag teams there is. So, again, not the longest match, but boy, what a good match it was. Very, very entertaining. keep an eye out for Top Flight in 2021. I think they're going to really rise and rise. That's just my opinion. Okay, next one was a women's tag match, the only women's tag match on the show. Ivelisse and Diamante versus Tesha Price and Catalina Perez. Now, Catalina Perez, as far as I know, this was her AEW debut. I've never seen it. If it isn't, I apologise. I might be wrong. But I've never seen it before because her hair was very large and a pinkish red, so you couldn't miss it. So you think you would remember that. But that being said, short tag match. But then again, very unique offer. I mean, even though Ivelisse and Diamante are AEW Dark regulars, I'm pretty sure they're both signed. But this was a very unique tag offense from them too. Starting to show a little bit more, I won't say aggressive, but tag team cohesion, even though they are a tag team, full stop. But more interaction between the two of them. And I liked it. Again, the talent started to show a little bit more. And this was no different. I liked it. Tesha Price has been dark before. Catalina Perez, her debut, couldn't put wrong. Good offense in. And this was a short match, but a good match. So, can't say much more than that. Next up was Sean Dean, the captain, and Fuego del Sol, who I kind of love, against the Acclaimed. Now, the Acclaimed are, I think, one of the most unique tag teams, but also one of the most entertaining tag teams in AEW. I really like them, even though they're heels, and even though Max Caster is doing the rapping gimmick. I'm not going to say who, but you know who did it before him. But these two just have something about them that I kind of but really like. And they work so well as a tag team. And this was another decent tag match. Not the longest match again, but this was very good. I liked it. And the Acclaimed, you can't really go wrong with them. Even though he's doing a gimmick that has been done before, it works with him because of the way he does it. He's not exactly never the same way as John Cena did it, but it's kind of cool, and I liked it. I liked this match. But Max Caster and Boris won. The Acclaimed one it is. So short tag match, very fun match. Fuego del Sol and Sean didn't get much offense in, but that's fine. It happens sometimes. But the Acclaimed won. That's it. Okay, next was the main event. The Lucha Brothers. Being come into the ring by Pac, of course, all three of those guys are Death Triangle, versus Chaos Project, who are, in all seriousness, one of my favourite tag teams in AEW because of the very unique pairing that they are. Serpentico and Luther. Now, those who know, Luther is a deathmatch veteran, 30 years experience in the business, most of his career in Japan. And Serpentico, who's got, I think, 15 years experience, just about. And the way these two work as a tag team is just ridiculous because Luther does the crazy screaming voice when he's disagreeing with a decision or something like that, or a slow count. It's just, it's so good. And Serpentico is the more high flyer of the two. Even though Luther can move, Luther uses Serpentico as a weapon in the match. He does it a leg drop, of course. Serpentico goes, no. He does it every single time. And it's just one of the most entertaining things you can see. And it works. I kind of but absolutely love Chaos Projects. And them versus Lucha Brothers this week was the right call for the main event. Lucha Brothers, I've put them over so many times as perhaps the best luchador tag team in the world. And that's no disrespect to luchador tag teams, but the two of them are just flawless. And this was a great main event, and I seriously thought this was the best way to end this program. Again, Rey Fenix, I've said it before, isn't human because of what he can do in the ring. It's just you have to shake your head. Did you just see that? And he did it more than once in this match as well. And Penta, he's more of the hard hitting of the brothers, but I love Penta, I really do. And Chaos Project Luther didn't hit Actually, I tell you, he did actually use Serpentico as a weapon more than once in his match. But it is made for an entertainment, but in such a unique way. But these two two tag teams gelled very, very well. And the exchanges between Serpentico and who's also Serpentico wears a mask, has lucha training, you can tell. With Ray Phoenix, it worked so well, and I love the exchanges between these two. The exchanges between Penta and Luther, the two bigger guys, was great. This was a superb tag match. I loved it, and this was a great main event. Not the longest match, but then again, it did need to be. What they fitted into just under 6 minutes and 45 seconds was just so good. And Ray Phoenix put on another incredible performance. So did Penta. So Pentaco and Luther are just so good as a tag team too. They're so entertaining. But the Lucha Brothers went over in this match, and this was the right call to make. Fantastic tag match. I really enjoyed this one. A great main event. Not the longest main event, like I said, but it didn't need to be. So, great way to end a very good episode of Dynamite. So, that is the first ever an English guy watching wrestling. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And this has been the first review of 3 for today. Next one is going to be Ring of Honor. Then it's going to be Impact. Not necessarily in that order. I'll see how it goes. Most likely it will be in that order. But I just want to say a huge thank you for watching. As I said, there's find no negativity here. All positive. That's how I am as a professional wrestling fan. But that's it. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will end the video by saying this. I'm not one of those guys going to say leave a like or subscribe or anything like that. It's entirely up to you. I'm just doing this for fun. I'm not being paid by anybody. This is off my own back. I'm doing it off my laptop webcam, as you can probably tell by the quality. But you know what? It's all a bit of fun. But like I said, that's what it's all about. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.